Hi and welcome. This is a Yin Yoga class and we're going to be working through some of my favourite postures. I invite you as you're at home to try and find a place where you can have some peace and quiet with as little distractions as possible. You might also need maybe a pillow or two firm pillows off your bed, or a bolster if you have one at home. You might also need a couple of bricks or a flat block as well. As an alternate for these, you could use a book just to help raise the hips sometimes, or something for the head to rest on. So finding a few little things that you might need to help yourself feel comfortable. You might also like to have a little blanket available for your shavasana at the end, or to pad out the knees. So once you've got everything together, coming to take a seat, you can sit onto a block, onto a cushion. Just find your way to a comfortable seat. Once you've found your comfortable seat, take a little moment to wiggle yourself in. You can rest hands down wherever they comfortably land, so that your shoulders can drop. We can just find a little bit of softness as we sit here. I invite you to close your eyes, or maybe you pick one point just in front of you to gaze at with a soft focus. We'll take a moment to land onto our mat, allowing the weight of the body to drop down through your sitting bones into the earth. Just allow yourself to feel heavy, sinking into the earth. At the same time as you allow yourself to sink down, bring your awareness to the crown of the head and gently lift your crown of the head to the sky. So you feel a little lift and lightness through the torso, creating some space to breathe. So we're going to start with 3 psychological sighs. So for a psychological sigh, we do a double inhale through the nose. The inhale will sound a little bit like this. And then on the exhale, we sigh the air out like this. So we're going to take 3 rounds of those. So when you're ready, start with a natural exhale. Inhale. Exhale. And again. One more round. Find a nice, deep, slow breath. We're going to take a second type of breath work here. This breath work is the Brahmari breath, our B breath. And this breath creates a vibration, and one of the areas it creates vibration around is our vagus nerve. And when we can create that vibration, we can trigger in that parasympathetic nervous system, that one of rest and digest, and help calm our bodies and our minds down. So for the Brahmari breath, we inhale through the nose, and when we exhale, we hum the air out. So the lips will be slightly touching, and you can make as loud as a hum sound as you can get away with in your house. And we'll be taking 3 rounds. And when we hum right to the last dregs of air leave the lungs. Okay, so finding that comfortable seat. Find your breath. And we'll start with a natural exhale. And then inhale deeply through the nose. Exhale to hum. Inhale. Exhale to hum. Inhale. Exhale, hum. And find some slow, deep rounds of breath. So for the rest of this practice, you might be breathing in and out through your nose, or breathing in through the nose and using some open mouth exhales can sometimes help us sink a little bit deeper. If you have any winter sniffles, then just using your mouth. So we're going to drop our chins to our chest and flutter open the eyes. From here, we're going to come over to all fours. So however you'd like to get there, coming over to all fours. Feel free to bring your rug or your blanket under your knees and your shins if you'd like. And we're just going to start stacking shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, and come into some hip circles here. So you might start with a few smaller circles, and then you might start to make them a little bit bigger. Just using a little bit of movement to help ease our way in. So in all of our yin poses, after we've held a pose, so that seated position for a while, we would then just bring a little bit of movement in, a little counter pose to release, taking your hip circles in the other direction as well. We're going to find our way back to stillness. So we're going to come into a wide-legged child's pose. So taking the knees as wide as the edges of the mat, or they can go a little bit wider if you have the space. And then we're sinking our hips back towards our heels. So if this is quite intense on the knees, you'll be up a little higher. You can also bring another blanket or a cushion of any sort in between the heels and the hips to help hold you up a little bit higher if you'd like. And we're going to be bringing the torso down. Now it can be really nice here to bring a cushion under your head, or taking your pillow and taking it underneath the torso so that the torso has something to rest on. You could also use your bolster here, bringing it in underneath the torso. So just take a moment to find the version that works for you. So there's plenty of time here. So take a little time to nestle yourself in. Once you come forward, choosing the position of your arms. So with the arms, we want to take a place with the arms where the shoulders can relax. So it's quite likely you'll have a little bend into your elbows. So you might have your head off to one side, or you might have a forehead resting to a pillow. So find your way in. And then we start to think about our depth here. So in our yin postures where we're holding them for a little while, we don't want to hold to our full range. So think about 80% of your range. And once you've chosen your depth of your posture, we start to look for softness. So here, we're trying to allow the hips to be heavy, softening the hips back and down. The torso is heavy, the head is heavy. So we can soften in. You might have a little softness through the hands. And once you've found the softness, we find stillness. You might find that the mind starts to wander. So in this child's pose, you can feel a pose where we can really drop our worries. We can drop the day. We can drop the conversations that repeat in our mind. Just letting them drop away from us into the earth. You could visualize the dropping, the letting go with every breath. Those thoughts, those conversations, the day, the worries, just dropping them into the earth. I'm going to be here for 6 more rounds of breath. Keep dropping, letting things go into the earth. When you're ready to start to come back out, activate into the arms to help lift you up. Just slowly lifting your torso halfway up. Now we're going to keep the legs where they are, and we're going to walk our hands over to the right side, and we're drawing our torso to the right thigh. And we're aiming to reach away with the left finger. So the left hand can be on top of the right, and you're reaching away with the left fingers as you send your left hip back and down. Now it may be your head just drops down in the direction of the floor, or you can bring in your pillow or your cushion just to drop the head onto. So coming into a little bit of a lateral stretch here. And this time bringing our minds to focus on the left side of the torso. And as you breathe, noticing the movement in the left side of the torso, and particularly the rib cage. So just focusing our mind on that area. We're here for 4 more breaths. When you're ready to lift yourself up, we're going to work all the way through center and then coming over to the other side. So this time your right hand is stacked on top of the left. You're trying to take your torso to your left thigh, dropping the head maybe to a cushion or pillow, or it might just drop gently towards the earth. And we're going to bring our awareness to the right side of our torsos. And notice as we breathe the expansion of the ribs on the right side. Feeling into the sensations of the stretch. We're here for 4 more breaths. And when you're ready to come back out, bringing yourself back through center. Draw the hands in and lifting yourself up, bringing your knees back under your hips. And we're going to just gently, one at a time, straighten one leg then the other. So starting with your right leg, try to start to straighten it, kicking out through the right heel, pushing the ball of the right foot down. Once that right leg is comfortable again, bending through the right knee, landing it down and then sending the left leg back. Kick out through the left heel, the left ball of the foot is to the ground. Just releasing into that left leg. And then bringing yourself round to sit onto your bottom. So we're going to take both legs out in front of us. We're coming to a half dragonfly. So starting with your left leg long, bending the right knee, and then you're taking your right knee out to the side. So the sole of the right foot comes onto the inside of the left leg. And we're trying to aim our torso over the extended left leg. Now, if your right leg is up quite high, this knee is quite high, depending on that hip, you can prop under there, again, a cushion, a pillow, or placing a brick just to help support that leg. And then bring your attention to the left leg. So allow this leg to soften. It might be that the toes slightly flop out to the side for that natural rotation through the leg. Try and allow the quads, the hamstrings to soften. And we're going to bring our hands down either side of the left leg. And we're going to start to walk the fingertips forward. So we're hinging at the hips, we're coming into a forward fold over this left leg. Now it may be that you get a certain way down and then you feel like you get stuck. So then it's the time to choose that depth. So it might be that when you come to that place, it feels like there's a lot of sensation. So just slightly come out. And then think how you can support yourself so you can soften. So it might be bringing a cushion in and wedging it underneath the lowest ribs, between the lowest ribs and that thigh, just to provide the torso with a bit of support as you come forwards. Now you can allow your head, the neck to stay in line with the spine, or you can tuck your chin to your chest and drop in. Allow your shoulders to fall away from one another. Your palms might rest to the ground, palms face down or palms face up. And then once you've found the position of the torso, just recheck in with the legs. Allow the legs to soften again. Sometimes using a sighing out breath can help us soften. might close your eyes here or try and pick one point to softly gaze at. Bring the mind to notice the breath. Notice all the stages of your inhale, from when the air comes in through the tip of the nose. And notice all the stages of the exhale as the air, that slightly warmer air, starts to leave the body. We're here for 6 more breaths. When you're ready to come back out, plant the palms to the floor and use the arms to help lift you up. Once you come back up, we're going to be swapping sides. Take both legs out in front of you for a moment and just give the legs a little shake. And when you're ready, we'll take the second side. So the right leg is going to be long. Left knee bends and the sole of the foot comes to the inside of the right leg. You might prop up your left leg if you need to, just to take a bit of sensation out of your left hip. And then you're turning yourself to face over the extended right leg. And then allow that right leg to soften. So my foot slightly hangs out to the side a little when I soften through that leg. Softening into the quads, the glutes. Having any props ready that you might need when you come forward. And you start to bring yourself forwards. You might bring that prop in underneath the lowest ribs and in between the thigh and the belly. Find your way to that range. Listen to your own body. If that feels too intense, as we're holding it for a little while, just come ever so slightly back out. And then we start to soften. Softening hands, allowing arms to be heavy. Allow the shoulders to fall apart from one another. You might be dropping your head, hocking chin to chest. Soften through belly. Recheck in that right leg is soft. Maybe use a couple of sighing out exhales to help it soften. You might close the eyes or pick that one point to gaze at. Bring the mind to notice the breath. Watching all the stages of the breath in your body. And if the mind wanders, which is completely natural, just bring it back to noticing the breath. 6 more breaths. Come back out. Activate the arms, push the palms down, lifting yourself up. Just moving any props off to the sides. Taking both legs out long and give them a little shake. We're going to be coming round to all fours, so swinging yourself round. So our next posture is going to be our sleeping swan. So for this posture, you might like a cushion, you might like again a bolster ready in front of you. So sleeping swan, also sometimes known as pigeon. If this doesn't work for you, then come onto your back instead, and you can take a figure of 4 position. So this is the alternative if sleeping swan doesn't work for you. It can be quite intense in the hips. So if you're coming into sleeping swan, from all fours, stepping your right knee to your right wrist and sliding your right foot underneath you towards the left wrist. So for those who have either the bones built that way or really open hips, you might walk that right foot quite close to your left wrist. For many of us, we take that right foot a little bit closer in towards midline. We then caterpillar back with the back leg until we start to drop the hips down. Now we don't want to feel this in the right knee. So if you're feeling it in the right knee, one option is to take that knee a little bit further over to the right, or bringing this right foot a little bit closer in towards the hips. If you're still feeling it in the knee, come over to your back and take that figure of 4. If you're here, you start to lower the torso down. So this is where you might have some cushions or some pillows to drop yourself down onto. And once you come down, with the arms, taking them to any position where you feel you can drop the shoulders, drop the weight of the arms into the earth. You might take the head to either rotation, or you can rest the forehead down onto hands or to the pillow. And closing your eyes. And really starting to notice here the sensation in the right hip. Breathing deeply. So when we can breathe nice and deeply and slowly, it helps the body know that it's perfectly safe. If you find that sensation is too much, then do adjust and come slightly out. Maybe you lift the torso higher. Maybe that right foot goes back slightly more towards your hips, away from the left arm. We're here for 10 rounds of breath. And when you've completed those 10 rounds of breath, you're ready to come back out, sliding your hands, your arms back in so you can lift your torso up. Caterpillar back in your back knee so you can swing yourself back round to all fours. And once you come to your all fours, come to some hip circles. Just bring some gentle, slow movement in as you let that go. And then we'll set up for the second side. For the second side then, we're bringing that left knee to the left wrist, and you're starting to slide that left foot under the body towards the right wrist. Caterpillar back the right knee. So take your time to find the position with that left leg that works for your left hip and your left knee. So those reminders, you might take that left knee slightly over to the left a little bit more, feeling it in the left knee. You might also take that left foot slightly closer underneath the body. That might help with that left knee. Or obviously coming over and taking figure of 4 on the back. And then when you feel comfortable, have a sensation in that left hip, starting to bring the torso down, choosing your prop to support as you need. Find a position with the arms where the shoulders can release. And once you've found that posture, seeing where you can soften. Maybe use some sighing out exhales to help you soften. And once you've found that softness, finding your stillness. You might bring your mind to focus on that sensation in the left hip. So we don't judge the sensation. It's not good, it's not bad. Just allow the mind to observe the sensation and see what comes up. We're here for 10 deep, slow rounds of breath. When you've completed those 10 rounds of breath, slowly activating the arms and lifting yourself back up. This time, lifting the right knee in so you can swing your left leg round, come back to your all fours and come into those gentle hip circles. Giving the hips time to release from that long, deep hold. ready, coming back to center. We're going to open a little across the chest into the shoulders with our melted heart pose. So for melted heart, you may want to have a cushion for the forehead to come down onto. And we're going to keep our hips over our knees. Now you can tuck toes or have the tops of the feet to the ground. And you're walking your arms forward until you drop the forearms down. So key to try and keep the hips over the knees. And from that place, we slide the arms forward until the forehead contacts with our cushion or to the floor. So this pose is called melted heart or puppy pose. And we're trying to melt the heart through the shoulders towards the earth. Now this can be quite intense on the shoulders. If it's a bit too intense, take one of your arms at a time and fold the arm across the mat in front of you, and then the forehead drops onto that arm. So then you're working more one arm at a time. If you're taking that option of one arm at a time, take 5 breaths and then swap to the other arm. Wherever you are, try and allow the chest to drop. We're here for 10 breaths in total. Finish that last breath. Slowly slide your arms in. We're going to come round to sit onto our bottoms. Once you come round and sit onto your bottoms, just bringing your hands to your shoulders, fingers at the front, thumbs at the back, and just take a few circles into the shoulder joints and circling the other way. Ready, gently releasing. So we're going to be coming down onto our backs and we'll be coming into a supported bridge. So you might need to have available a block, a couple of books, or your cushions to bring underneath the sacrum, or a combination of all of those. So bringing yourself down onto your backs. And once you land, bring your feet as close in to your hips as they can go. Your knees and your feet are about hip distance apart. And then push your feet into the ground, lift your hips up into the sky. Now once you've lifted up, you're going to take your supports and slide them underneath the sacrum, the very lowest part of the back. So you can move them around just to find a place where it feels comfortable on the lower back. And you can choose any height to work at here. And then once you've found the position with the props, allow your hips and your back to be heavy. So you're trying to drop the weight down into the earth through the props. And as you drop the weight down, allow the muscles in your legs to switch off. For some, it can then feel quite nice to take the feet a little bit wide and maybe a little bit further away. Your arms can come out cactus. You can have them down by the sides of the body. Anywhere it just feels like your arms can just be heavy. I'll invite you to close your eyes here. So we found our softness, we find our stillness. Even in our stillness, we still have our breath. We can add a little visualization to our breath here. So that on every inhale, feel and see a lightness in the chest. And on every exhale, allow the head and the shoulders to drop into the earth. So on the inhale, feeling into a lightness and a lift in the chest. And on the exhale, allowing the shoulders and the head to be heavy as they drop into the earth. Allowing the mind to focus on this feeling, this image as you breathe here. Here for 6 more deep rounds of breath. Ready to come back out. Bringing your feet back to hip distance apart and a little bit closer in if you've moved them away. And then push the feet into the floor. Feel the legs, the hips switch on and lift. And then slide your props out from underneath you. And slowly lower your hips back down. Now some people when they come out like to find some stillness. Maybe you just walk your feet a little bit further away from your bottom. If you need a little bit of movement, then a gentle, small windscreen wipe out of the knees side to side, just to help you release the back. Our next posture, we'll be coming into a reclined twist. So for reclined twist, there are a few different options that you might like to take. So first option, we're going to be taking the knees over to the left. So you can take both knees bent over to the left and you roll onto the outer left hip. And the knees might hover together. Your right arm can come out cactus or long to the right. You might turn your head over to the right. The left hand, I invite you to rest it onto your belly to help you stay connected with the breath. Now, if you find that your legs are hovering in mid-air somewhere, you can bring in a cushion or a block or anything else that you have to hand, and taking it between the thighs or underneath the bottom thigh. In our recline twist, key here is sinking down. We're letting gravity do the work. Been here for a few breaths and this doesn't feel the right twist for you, maybe coming back out slightly if you need, or sometimes lengthening the bottom leg down the mat with the top leg coming over can feel quite nice. So adjust if you need, and then find your stillness. We're going to be here for 12 deep, slow breaths. Breath, you're ready to come back out. Slowly roll yourself back through to center. Take a moment to realign the spine. So again, some people quite like just to come to a little bit of stillness. You might also like to just bring your knees into your chest, give yourself a squeeze and rock a little side to side. And then when you're ready, we're coming to the other side. So those options, this time the knees are going over to the right. So the option of having both knees bent, coming over to the right and placing a prop wherever you need to help support your legs, or having your right leg long and the left knee comes over. Your left arm can come out long to the side, or it can come out into a slight cactusy position. Having the right hand to the belly to help you tune into your breath. And you might be looking over to the left. Closing the eyes if it's comfortable. And tuning into your breath. ready. Slowly bringing your knees back round to center. Realigning your spine. The option to bring the knees into the chest. Give yourself a squeeze and rock a little side to side. So we've arrived at our final posture, our Shavasana. So for your Shavasana, you might like to bring a cushion in underneath the head. You can bring your blanket to lay over you, so knees can be bent, soles of the feet to the ground, or you can lengthen your legs down the mats. You can have your arms out wide, palms face up, or bring a hand to the chest and a hand to the belly. Just take a few moments to find a place where you can drop down, where you can allow your body to be heavy. Just take a moment to soften. Allow the legs to be heavy, the arms to be heavy, the torso to be heavy, and the head to be heavy. Maybe take a few sighing out breaths. Lead us through a little visualization. I'd like to pause the video here and just take a little time in Shavasana and come out when you're ready. You can. So we're going to bring our awareness to the crown of our head. In that space above the crown of our heads, visualizing there a ball of golden light. This ball of golden light, it shimmers, it moves, maybe you see it vibrating. This ball of golden light. It starts to send down into the crown of your head. It's golden light. And this light, it comes in through the crown of the head and travels down through the body. And you notice this golden light, it's warm. This warm golden light flows in from the crown of the head and travels down through the body. And light moves in waves. So seeing this warm golden light waving down from the ball through the crown of the head down through the body. This ball of light is infinite. Keep sending its warm golden light down through the body. And noticing as this warm golden light, it fills up into the toes. Starts to fill up into the feet, soles of the feet, the tops of the feet. Warm golden light keeps waving down and it's filling up into the ankles. You notice as this warm golden light has filled your feet, your ankles. Your feet soften, they release. This warm golden light starts to fill up the lower legs, the calves, the shins. This warm golden light starts to fill into the knee joints. And it softens and it releases. This warm golden light, it flows down, it waves down through the body. And it starts to fill up the thighs, the quads, the hamstrings, these big powerful muscles filling with this warm golden light. Softening and releasing. This warm golden light, it waves down and it starts to fill up into the hip sockets, into the pelvis, the lower belly. The hips, the pelvis, they release, they soften. This warm golden light fills up into the lower back, the mid back, the upper back, the shoulder blades. The whole of the back of the torso softens and releases. This warm golden light fills up the belly, fills up into the chest, all the way to the collarbone. All of the torso is softening and releasing. This warm golden light waves down through the arms, starts to fill up into the fingers and the thumbs, the palms, the top of the hands, fills up into the wrists, fills up into the forearms, all the way to the elbows, fills up into the upper arms, until the arms are filled with this warm golden light, and they soften, they release. This warm golden light waves in through the crown of the head and starts to fill up the throat and the neck, starts to fill up to the jaw, the cheeks, the ears, fills up into the back of the head, the eyes, temples, the forehead, all the way to the crown of the head. The whole body is filled with this warm golden light. The whole body is softened, is released. This warm golden light, it also restores. Resting here a few more moments, softened, released and restored. Next breath, start to let go as you exhale, just letting that image dissipate, letting that golden light just melt into the earth and the air around you. Maybe you can come back to this place whenever you need. Take a few deeper rounds of breath, bringing in fresh oxygen, fresh prana, fresh life force and energy. As you do this, start to bring in some gentle movement, rolling the head to one side, back through center and over to the other side. Bring some wiggles through fingers, circling into wrists. Some wiggles through toes, little movement into ankles. And then bend your knees so your soles of your feet come onto the ground. Rolling yourself over to your favorite side, come into a little ball and take a big breath there. Use your hands to guide yourself up to a comfortable seat. Once you arrive in your comfortable seat, bringing your hands to heart center in Anjali Mudra, palms together, thumbs slightly rest on the chest. And just take a moment here to thank ourselves for taking this time for ourselves, for our practice, for our wellness. From my heart to yours, Namaste.